An AEW wrestler has come out publicly to speak about their contract status and everything that has happened with AEW. Some criticisms, a lot of praise. We're going to dive into that. Also, WWE's Roman Reigns missing Money in the Bank, and another main roster wrestler has been demoted to NXT. We're going to talk about it in today's video. Let's start off with Roman Reigns. I'm kind of pissed off about this, to be honest. Roman Reigns is the undisputed world champion. WWE has him missing Hell in a Cell. WWE reportedly has him missing Money in the Bank. And truth be told, WWE, I don't know what the hell they're thinking here, but the plan may be for Roman Reigns versus Riddle. At least according to Dave Meltzer, they might do this match on TV. Now, here's the thing. My biggest complaint about AEW was how they made Hangman Page, once he became champion, no longer feel important as champion. It also felt like after he's dropped the championship belt, he's just another guy in the roster. Hey, I'm not good enough to be the AEW world champion. I'm going to go for the New Japan Pro Wrestling, IWGP, US, whatever. You know, he's going for the world championship in New Japan, right? Great. He's challenged Okada. But the thing is, I look at what happens with Roman Reigns, right? And Roman Reigns has gotten to a point where, truth be told, he won the Undisputed World Championship, and ever since, everything that made Roman Reigns feel important to the show no longer feels important. I don't know if Roman Reigns is injured. I know there was reports about that at one point, and maybe this is WWE just waiting and holding off on it without saying anything. I don't know. But I've gotten to a point with Roman Reigns where, like, as much as I like the Bloodline and the Bloodline storyline, what good is a million-day reign if you're not constantly on TV, not constantly defending, if you're not constantly on pay-per-views? At least pay-per-views. Television, I understand, because television, right now, WWE has done a good job of featuring guys like Ezekiel and Veer and Dominic Rey Mysterio. Whether you like these people personally or not, we are starting to see more faces on WWE television. Also on SmackDown now we have Max Dupree and we have Gunther and Ludwig. So, like, in my opinion, I think a lot of that is done because of the fact that we don't have 40-minute segments or 40-minute matches with Reigns taking place on TV. But at the end of the day, he is the undisputed champion, not defending on television or pay-per-views. Like, this guy is barely around anymore. I know the idea is if he's not there as much, he'll be more special. But I think you're actually going to be more special if you're the champion that's constantly showing up, doing the work. I don't know what the situation is here. I don't blame Reigns. I blame WWE, because whatever it is, WWE has decided to not put Roman Reigns in a singles program for Money in the Bank. And, if WWE pay-per-views weren't $5, I would not spend $50 on a pay-per-view where the world champion is missing from it, especially when the world champion should be in the biggest and most important storyline of the entire card. Guys, another WWE wrestler has been demoted to NXT. This time it is Aziz. Captain Aziz has been moved to NXT, which I'm not going to complain too much about. Obviously, WWE wasn't doing anything important with him from the main roster. My only concern here is, what is WWE's plan with Commander Aziz in NXT? Is he going to be back in his old gimmick of Babatunde? Is he going to be Captain Aziz? I'm sorry, I keep saying Captain Aziz. Commander Aziz. Unbelievable. My bad. But the question here is he going to move to NXT to be a different character, to get more progression in? What is the situation here? NXT has quite a few big men, so I'm not sure how I feel about them moving Commander Aziz down to NXT. And one thing I do have to address, because it just wouldn't be fair if I didn't. Apollo Crews moved down to NXT without the Nigerian accent. So are we supposed to believe now completely the act is finished? You know what I mean? I don't know what to believe here. Obviously, this is going to be very, very, very interesting. Aziz was not with Apollo Crews and NXT. I hope NXT, I don't mind this. I really, really don't mind a guy being moved down to NXT. I really, really don't, actually. I think it helps, especially guys like Von Wagner. They're going to need legitimate opponents. You can build Aziz as a legitimate opponent. Braun Breaker is going to need a legitimate heel to go against. You can do that with Aziz. So let me know what you guys think. I don't know, man. I feel like this is kind of odd that WWE has decided to do this just because they already had a gimmick on TV and they decided to completely squash it. But I would love for Aziz and Apollo Crews, at least just one time, if Shawn Michaels or Triple H or somebody, maybe Norman Smiley, maybe somebody can go to Aziz and Apollo and just say, hey, we need one segment to explain why you guys are no longer together. Just something I would be very happy with, because NXT has been very, 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 very logical so far, especially since going to 2.0. And with them going more logical and being way more focused than WWE's main roster, I don't want them to start becoming like the main roster in that regards. All right, guys, our final news story of today's video, we got to talk about it. So an AEW wrestler has decided to speak out about her contract status with AEW. And we talked about this live on twitch.tv/AngoTV. The reason for this was because we were curious. Nobody on Twitch knew. We were all talking about like, hey, whatever happened to her? Because we were talking about the NWA pay-per-view. There wasn't a lot of, talk about it. Guys, Kailyn King, she is, for all intents and purposes, she's known as an AEW wrestler. I think it was very obvious the stuff that she was doing, during the pandemic and everything like that. Been on TV, been on Dark, but she was always per appearance. So she wasn't given a contract or anything like that. But over time, she was less and less on AEW. Now, here's the thing. This is actually a good thing, and then there's some parts that are bad. But it's not a bad story, right? It's actually a good thing. So she spoke with Sean Ross Sapp ahead of NWA's Always Ready pay-per-view, and basically she was just talking about like her experience in AEW and pretty much all good things. She felt honored being there because, she was an enhancement talent that was putting over other enhancement talent, which is awesome. But they had her involved with Red Velvet, Big Swole, so she was happy about that. And then she was representing AEW at the Empower pay-per-view for NWA. Then she was in All Out Women's Battle Royale. So there was a lot of things that she was doing as part of being an unsigned talent, which honestly, I will always give AEW their credit there, especially during the pandemic, to have talent show up, not necessarily be signed, but they were pretty much given work during a time period where wrestling was pretty much dead. They get their credit. They do. But then one thing that she said, she goes, unfortunately, my journey with them hasn't been really going anywhere lately, which is totally fine because if you know anything about wrestling, it's a matter of time and place and being the thing that they need at the moment. So I'm just incredibly happy that I got to be there and I got to have those experiences because I don't think I would be the wrestler I am right now or even the performer I am right now if I hadn't been there on that journey leading up with those moments and opportunities. As far as I know, me and AEW are good. It just got to a point where no contract had been offered. There have been no talks about it, and I was starting to get emails from NWA and stuff like that. And there was a lot of companies on the independents who really wanted me to put their titles on me and have a very regular work storyline. That was the point I wanted to switch into. I didn't want to just have matches anymore. I wanted to have storylines. I wanted to have feuds. I wanted to start leaving little marks in my wrestling career where 10, 20 years from now, people can go back and say, oh, that feud was so great. Obviously more to the story, but with this situation, like I said, AEW did a phenomenal job with a lot of the talent that they had during the pandemic. The problem is AEW didn't commit to anybody really after the fact. This is not really a criticism for me. Truthfully, I think this is like one of those things where business is business, timing is everything. I feel like a lot of people were familiar with her in AEW, so had they signed her, it probably wouldn't have been a bad signing, probably wouldn't have been an expensive contract. But I just want to point out that, yes, wrestlers want storylines. Not everybody just wants to wrestle a match. People do want to feel important. They want to feel involved in a storyline. Being involved in a storyline means consistently on TV, things like that. What do you guys think? Let me know. Not a bad thing for AEW, just maybe some things to improve on.